And good afternoon from the Sierra Radio Network newsroom. We are bringing you a special interview with local law enforcement who will be addressing the Rainbow Family Gathering taking place just 5 miles past Antelope Lake near Red Rock Lookout. I'm Andrea Drake. Joining me this afternoon is our new support, Janelle Wright, as well as Plumas Sheriff Todd Johns, Lassen Sheriff John McGarva, Susanville Public Safety Cheif Mike Bollinger, and Alan Sobel with the Susanville Police Department. Good afternoon, gentlemen. It's great to have you joining us and discussing this topic. I do want to first address, just to give a little refresher for those that may be unaware of who the Rainbow Family are. They are described as a group lightly formed in the 1970s, described as a loose-knit group that meets annually, usually in remote forests, to escape modern society in a spirit of unity and peace. With that, we're going to go ahead and go to Sheriff Todd Johns, who is on the phone here with us this afternoon. Good afternoon, Johns. Thanks for joining us.
Morning, Andrea. How are you?
Doing fantastic. So I know there's a lot of public concern around this gathering because it is known to be up to thousands of folks descending upon the area. What are some of your concerns and maybe some things that the Sheriff's Office is going to be doing in light of their arrival?
Well, the biggest concerns that I have is the weekend and the timing of it. We're looking at a tremendous uptick of folks in our communities and the county over the 4th of July weekend, and this is going to certainly be a tremendous burden even further on law enforcement, not just for me and the surrounding counties, but we're going to basically have all hands on deck to make sure we can address the public's concerns. And then, I briefed the board yesterday. I just asked them to let their constituents know that they need to be vigilant over the weekend. As a rule, most of the folks that attend these events are very friendly, very nice folks, and they just want to come and enjoy the mountains that we enjoy every day. But there is a criminal element that follows them, and those are the folks that we're concerned the most with. So we traditionally, my understanding is when these events take place, that in the surrounding communities, they see an uptick in burglaries, car burglaries, and thefts. And then there's also can be some issues in some of the grocery stores, I'm told, as far as theft. So I'm just asking the community to be vigilant. Make sure your cars and your property's locked up and secure, and, report stuff that you think is suspicious, and we'll respond as quickly as we can and make sure it's addressed.
And during this time, I know that there has been reports that they're already starting to arrive. Has Plumas County seen any of this activity?
Well, they've primarily been up in the Antelope Lake area. They're coming primarily through Janesville to go up that way up the grade there. But we know that there's multiple ways to get to that area. So, I'm assuming there are some that are coming into town, but we haven't seen a big uptick at this point.
And when were you first made aware of their decision to come to this area?
It would have been the day before yesterday. We had received some information that there was a possibility, and we'd had some discussions, but it wasn't a known fact until literally the day before yesterday. So.
And have you been in any discussion with the forest supervisor, Chris Carlton of the Plumas National Forest?
I have not. I've been primarily speaking with the LEOs that are going to be involved in this. I've also reached out to the local Native American tribes, particularly the Maidu folks that are really, to be honest with you, not very happy that this is happening. And then basically we're in discussions trying to figure out our next steps, and we'll go from there.
And do you have plans to address any of the issues specifically, like you said, at some of the grocery stores where these folks may be picking up supplies and food? Are there going to be any extra staffing if possible?
Well, like I said, we're going to have everybody working. So I'm limited on my staff and who can, actually show up. We may do a mutual aid request, depending on what we're seeing. I've had several sheriffs reach out to me already and tell me that they could potentially send staff if needed. So we always have that possibility. And then I've been, talking to your sheriff, John over there, John McGarvey, quite a bit. And, this is really just going to be a large coordination effort between all the agencies that will be involved. So, Lassen, SO, us, the Forest Service exclusively or extensively, they have a lot of agents that are going to be responding. Fish and Game, CHP. So there's going to be a lot of folks involved. And then, of course, the regular folks that come up here. I mean, the population of Plumas County quadruples in size over the 4th of July weekend, and with the music festivals and all the fireworks. So it's going to be very busy.
Yes, definitely going to be, like you said, all hands on deck in a very busy season. Anything else you want to address, maybe some concerns that you've been hearing, or anything you want to answer before we let you go this afternoon?
No, I just want to really make sure the public understands that at this point, for us, we're going to do absolutely everything we can to make sure that they have a peaceful weekend and that they're safe. But a little bit of it is going to require their vigilance and making sure, that they don't have their keys in the ignition of their car and that their cars are unlocked and things like that. I mean, we do hear that, particularly for this festival, there are occasions where folks will hitchhike to the nearest town, wherever that might be. It could be Greenville or Quincy or Portola or Susanville. And, the folks that are giving them a ride aren't going to go all the way to Antelope Lake. So they'll get a ride to the closest town, and then they look for a car to steal to get up there. And again, that's not the entire group. They're not all bad folks. I want to make sure I say that, but there are some folks that just don't care, and they're not going to follow the law, and they just want to go. So the public just needs to be very cognizant over the busy holidays of their property and that everything's secured.
Well, we definitely appreciate you joining us and sharing your perspective on this matter this afternoon. We will let you be on your way. Again, thank you for joining us, and we'll continue to stay in contact as the event approaches.
Thank you so much. I appreciate the opportunity.
Thank you, Sheriff. You have a good day.
You too. Bye-bye.
And now, as part of the conversation, let's go ahead and bring in our gentlemen who are here in the studio again. Just a reminder, Public Safety Chief Mike Bollinger for the city of Susanville. We have Alan Sobel with the Police Department, as well as your Lassen County Sheriff John McGarvey in studio. Now, Sheriff McGarvey, I'm sure you share a lot of the same sentiments that Sheriff Johns was just sharing there. And he said you've been in contact already, working in a coordinated effort. What other kind of efforts are being put in place?
So we've been working with Plumas County. We've been working with the city police. I've been in touch with the Forest Service. I've been in constant meetings with them, trying to see what level of people are coming through, how many people we're looking at. We've heard anywhere from 5 to 7 is what the gathering itself says is coming. Mm-hmm. Forest Service is estimating a higher number than that. Locations, we've been dealing with the Rainbow family since last week when they were at Roxy Pecanum. I am developing a staffing plan. We will also be increasing our staffing for this period of time, probably for the next few weeks, to cover additional personnel. I really want to focus our responsibility on the residents of Lassen County and safeguarding our people on our property. And the same thing, if the public sees something, they need just call. I'll have deputies there. We will deal with criminal activity appropriately and swiftly. We will not tolerate people coming in and committing crimes in our county. Now, Sheriff Johns is also correct. There's a good chunk of these people that are just looking to go up and enjoy the mountains. Mm-hmm. The Constitution provides for that. It's public lands in the Plumas National Forest. They have the same right to go up there as you or I do. We don't want to see the destruction up there. But my focus will be on inside of this county, dealing and patrolling here.
And we've run into these folks before. This group has been passed through the area in years prior. It's before my time, but I have heard of stories of where they have been near Likely or up in Modoc County. Are you aware? Have you?
So actually, Lieutenant Sobel and I were both deputies when they were here the last time. So it was up in the South Warner Mountains in an area called near Bear Camp. They were here for a while, and they did cause significant problems in the community, in stores and everything else. And we're working together to come up with a plan to try and keep them from doing that this time.
Exactly, and we'll turn that over to you, I'm going to say Captain Bollinger, Public Safety Chief Bollinger. Now, what is the city of Susanville doing to respond to this influx? Because as we've been sharing, they will be passing through town and getting supplies and things like that. So what is the city of Susanville looking to do?
So we've already started making contact with the businesses here in Susanville that'll be mainly affected. Safeway, IGA, grocery outlet, Marshalls, and Tractor Supply, because a lot of these folks are going to come in looking for specific items that they want to take back with them up to those areas. So these folks have been briefed. We've asked them if they have the access to loss prevention teams. Safeway, I believe, is going to reach out to their loss prevention group, see if they're available to come up. Again, the activity on their webpage states that it starts July 1st and it runs through July 7th. These folks are already on the way.
Sure.
We're watching their Facebook posts, we're watching social media, and we're talking busloads of folks that are already heading here as far back as New Hampshire, North Dakota, South Dakota, Southern Cal, and a lot of folks are hitchhiking. And like Sheriff McGarvis states, folks, we understand there's a lot of good folks in our community and they help one another, and they'll see somebody out hitchhiking on the highway. Please don't. Not for the next few weeks. Reason being is these folks are going to get in your car, they're going to ask you for money, you're going to drop them off, next thing you know you're going to be looking for your firearm you had in your car, or your wallet, or your purse, and it's going to be gone. So be real cognizant. Keep your doors locked again. All your property, the folks in the city are being told, gas cans, generators, anything like that can be picked up and moved, put it away. We need to put all the stuff away for the time being. Try not to confront the folks that are harassing you or start begging you for money. We will deal with that. We will have our staffing probably doubled over the next couple weeks. We've got officers that'll start coming in to do specifically, basically what we're calling is Rainbow Patrol. They're going to come in, go to the businesses, and check in with them, make sure everything's good. And these folks that are driving through town, we will take enforcement action on them. We may give a lot of these folks an initial break and say, hey, here's your citation, we're not going to tow your vehicle, because we don't want to tow the vehicle and have them here in town. But they'll be advised, you come back in and you got the same violation, the next time you come back through, we're going to impound your stuff.
And they've been known to be around a little bit longer past their event date ending, which they've said is around July 8th. Is there any concern of that being prolonged with staffing levels and just being able to be on patrol and be as vigilant?
Well, that's always a concern. I mean, I expect them to be stragglers. When they were here in 2004, we had people here till the snow hit the ground. Mm-hmm. So we will have some residual that are coming out. But the same thing as Chief Bollinger said, if they're conducting criminal activity, we will be addressing it. And we will address it as appropriate as necessary. But we don't want them remaining in the community. We want them, when they're done, we want them to have their gathering and then move on about their business.
And Mr. Sobel, we'll bring you into the conversation here. You, as my understanding, you were saying that you've actually been up to the area and visiting already?
Yeah, we went up there yesterday.
And what have you seen so far?
The people we spoke to were actually really pleasant. We were pretty well received, so it was the very initial phase of this. So we issued our concerns to them. They assured us that it wasn't going to be an issue, and we moved on. So it's just like Sheriff McGarvis said, we had issues in 2004, and our main concern is that those issues don't persist 20 years later.
Sure. And I've heard, and this is just through the grapevine and social media and everything, right? There's rumors that they've already had illegal campfires and diverting water and things like that. How is law enforcement able to address those type of issues?
So unfortunately, in the state of California and most Forest Service, BLM, and in fact in the city, folks are allowed to have a fire for warming purposes or cooking purposes. And a lot of times you can go through the many years of blogs for these folks, and they'll flat out tell you, hey, get your permits, do this, and about half of them will say, we don't need a permit, we've never complied, and we won't. Mm-hmm. So unfortunately, I'd imagine the LEOs for the Forest Service that are up there right now will probably try to educate these folks, but there's only so much you can say to them.
Sure. And there's been a lot of questions regarding like you said, permitting process as far as holding a group this large. And I've been told that it's due to the lack of leadership, that a lot of folks are asking, how are we allowing how is law enforcement, how are all the authorities, who's allowing them to gather in this spot? Because there is a concern of damage to the area, to the land, because when you put that many thousands of people, it's bound to happen. And do we have any idea as if that's true, that they can't be held accountable and they are allowed to gather up there just because of the sheer size of them and lack of leadership?
So you saw the press release from the Plumas National Forest on it is a unauthorized, or however they put it, gathering.
Right.
That they're saying now some of the issues that they've had in the past is that the claim is we're not in one group, we are a bunch of little camps and we just happen to congregate at one person's camp like you or I would at a campground if we were camping together. I get it. That doesn't fly with me either. However, amazingly, these people have attorneys that are very litigious.
Wow.
And there's case law showing that they can do these things. I didn't believe it until I saw it. But no, you or I did these. I admit, you and I did these things. We would, there would be consequences, I would assume. But they're allowed to. They're allowed to do that, and then they try and mitigate it at the end. And we've seen, anyone that's looked it up has seen pictures of what mitigation looks like. So the answer is they manage the incident, and they'll take whatever enforcement action they feel is appropriate up there.
Okay.
Wow. That's interesting. I have not heard that. I don't know. Maybe I just had a lot of assumptions, but...
Well, I've been living and breathing this for the last couple of weeks. So.
Right.
Hoping they would go somewhere else, but they're here.
And like I said, it was kind of last minute because the original spot was up in the Warner Mountains. Sheriff Tex Dowdy did put out a nice long letter saying that, yes, there will be a strong presence of law enforcement and everyone will be held to the letter of the law. And that didn't necessarily mean that they weren't allowed up there because of that kind of opposition. I believe the Pitt River Tribe also sent out a letter about that in regards to opposing it. However, I believe there's a lot of snow up in Modoc still, and that is the reasoning why that location was changed and so last minute to down here.
That's possible.
It's possible.
I would say that there's quite a bit of snow. We even encountered some snow when we took our road trip up through there yesterday.
Sure.
So there's still some snow high, and in the Warners there's a lot of tree cover up there, so that's highly possible that they can't access that yet. I mean, we can see that evidence by Lassen Park still not open all the way. So
exactly.
clearly in the high areas there's still snow. They're here,
They're coming.
and they're going to continue to come. Now, the only thing I can tell the citizens is that we will be there for them and we will take care of anything that goes on.
How do you feel about the residents that are along the major routes, so Janesville grade, Milford grade? Anything you'd like to say to those folks?
Well, I'd like to echo what Chief Bollinger told the people of the city. Make sure your stuff's locked up. Don't leave those high theft items, the generators, the gas cans, your firewood, anything else, because they put out their own press release telling their people to bring firewood because there's not a lot of firewood up there. So keep your stuff secured. And if you see something, anyone on your, any kind of suspicious activity, call. We would rather come up and have it be someone just walking their dog than not know about it and find out someone lost property over this. We want to really prevent any kind of criminal activity that occurred last time they were here. That is the entire goal. I want to make sure the citizens here are safe, and that's my primary concern.
Yeah, it sounds like you guys are really taking a proactive approach, really being ahead of this rather than in it and then responding.
Very much
Yes,
so.
definitely,
Yes.
especially with such last minute notice
Yes.
of it being up in our area. Anything, I know we were trying to see if a tribal member would be a part of our conversation here this afternoon, as well as the Plumas Forest Supervisor. We did reach out to them. We are in contact. We are hopefully maybe hosting another one of these interviews with them in the near future just to address their concerns and hear from them as well. Is there any other items that you would like to address this afternoon for the community?
So again, a lot of folks are going to be out of the area. So 4th of July weekend, a lot of folks are going to turn that into a 3-4 day weekend, and they're probably scared about leaving their residences and stuff like that. Check with your neighbors. Let your neighbors know you're out of the area. I believe John has the same program we do. If you want us to come by and check your residence, put a phone call into dispatch. Say, hey, I'd really love some extra patrol. I'm going to be gone these days, and we'll take care of that.
All right. And so we'll same as well as for the PD.
Yeah, 100%. I think the biggest thing is just secure your items. If you don't want it stolen, obviously we know thefts are up. We're doing our best, but laws dictate a lot of what we do, right? So don't the sensitive items you don't want to lose. Secure everything: propane tanks, wood, everything.
And then if they do have a concern, what's the best number to reach out to?
Dispatch.
Dispatch.
It's 257-2171 or 6121.
All right, there you have it. Gentlemen, anything else in closing?
The only thing I like to say, I mean, we are trying to encourage those that have concerns to contact Plumas National Forest, contact their congressman. We can provide those numbers if you'd like at a later date, or call my office and we can get them to you. But we encourage you to call your congressman, call a Forest Service, and express your concerns over that. We are putting a plan in place to handle the law enforcement end of this, but they need to hear from the public on what their feelings are on having this gathering here.
Because like you said, your hands are essentially tied as far as allowing this large of a group to arrive. There's nothing in the law that says we cannot.
Well, they have the same the same rights as everybody. Now we're going to make sure they're within the law, but I can't legally prevent someone from traveling down the roadway.
Right.
Exactly. Well, gentlemen, we do appreciate you joining us this afternoon. Again, we're having a conversation in regards to the response that the Rainbow Family Gathering is on their way to the Antelope area near Red Rock Lookout for their annual gathering. You can learn more information by following our socials as well as our website, SierraDailyNews.com, and being in touch with your local law enforcement as well. They do share regular updates on things that are happening, and we'll keep you up to date on all of that. We do appreciate joining us here this afternoon. Again, Sheriff John McGarva. We have Alan Sobel with the Police Department, as well as Susanville Public Safety Chief Mike Bollinger, and earlier we did have Plumas Sheriff Todd Johns. Janelle Wright is here with me as well, our news support. And if you did miss any of this conversation, again, it will be recorded and available for you to replay and review, and you can do so by visiting SierraDailyNews.com. Anyone like to say anything in closing before we let you go this afternoon?
Thank you for having us, and feel free to reach out with any questions or concerns.
Yep, we do appreciate. I love that you wrote appropriate, or I wrote appropriate and swift response, because as a citizen, it's nice to know that I feel secure knowing that you guys are going to have a heavy presence.
Like
so
John
thank
says,
you.
we've teamed up on this. We've talked extensively. It's going to be a zero tolerance. So we've got to protect our citizens, our visitors that are going to be traveling through this weekend, and it's going to be busy. And people need to be careful on 395. We're talking 5,000 to 10,000 people coming up. 395 is already bad enough.
Yes.
Absolutely couldn't agree more.
All right, folks,
Thanks.
there you have it. Thank you again, gentlemen, for joining us, and we look forward to staying in contact with you throughout this event. Your time is 12:28 on Sierra's Best Country 93 JDX and News Talk Sports 1240 KSUE. You want to keep it right here. Your checkup on health is coming up next, and then we'll turn to more of Sierra's Best Country on 93 JDX, and you can tune in to Jimmy Fela on 1240 KSUE.